day everyone, I'm Kurt Discarding, and for this video, I'll be explaining Philippine government, specifically the 1987 Philippine Constitution and how it is connected to human rights. Now, this topic is very important for us education students and especially for those preparing for the licensure examination. So many lead questions come from this topic, particularly about the state, its elements, and the constitution. At the end of this video, you should be able to explain what a state is and identify and understand the element of the state, understand how this applies to the Philippines, explain why the 1987 Constitution is important, and understand how the Constitution protects human rights. I'll explain everything step by step with examples so it's easy to understand. Now, let's start with the state.
State, a community of persons more or less numerous permanently occupying a definite territory independent of external control and possessing a government to which a great body of inhabitants render habitual obedience.
When we say state, we're not just talking about people or land. A state is a political community that has an organized system of government. A state is made up of people who live permanently in a territory governed by a government and free from foreign control. There are four elements of the state, and you must understand each one here.
Elements: people or the inhabitants. Second, territory, the fixed portion of the earth inhabited by the people of the people or the state. Government, the agency or instrumentality through which the will of the state is formulated, expressed, and realized. Number 4, sovereignty, the supreme power of the state to enforce its will upon the people and the freedom from external or foreign control.
So first is people. The people are the inhabitants of the state. In the Philippines, the people are the Filipinos. This includes Filipinos living in the country, Filipinos living abroad. So without people, there is no state. A land with no people cannot be considered a state. If a question asks who the people of the Philippine states are, very good. The answer is Filipinos. Second is territory. Territory refers to the area where the people live. According to the 1987 Philippines Constitution, Philippine territory includes the Philippine archipelago, all islands and waters around and between the islands, the land, sea, and airspace. So the Philippines is not just land, it includes waters and air above it. The third element is government. Government is the agency through which the will of the state is carried out. In simple terms, the government make laws, implement laws, interpret laws. So in the Philippines, the government has three branches: executive, legislative, and judiciary. Without government, there would be no order and no system. The last element is sovereignty. Sovereignty means the supreme power of the state and its freedom from external control. This means that Philippines can govern itself without being controlled by another country. So, if a question asks which element refers to independence and supreme authority, yes, the correct answer is sovereignty. Now, let's talk about the 1987's Constitution.
In the Philippines, people are us. The Filipinos territory, Article 2 of the 1987 Constitution of number 1, the Philippine archipelago with all the islands and waters embraced therein. Second, all other territories over which the Philippines has sovereignty or jurisdiction consisting of its terrestrial. fluvial and aerial domains, including its territorial sea, the seabed, the subsoil, and other submarine areas, and the waters around, between, and connecting the islands of the archipelago, regardless of their breadth and dimension, form part of the internal waters of. The government of the Republic is composed of the first, national government, the entire machinery of the government. Second, local governments, political subdivisions such as provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays. Number 3, autonomous regions. Cordillera Autonomous Region of Muslim Mindanao, and number 4, Metropolitan Authority. A special political subdivision composed of all local government units and Metro Manila. Sovereignty, internal, or the freedom to impose its will on the Filipinos, and external, or freedom from foreign control. This is inclusive, comprehensive, and permanent. Theories of the origin of the state. Divine right theory. The state is of divine creation, and the ruler is ordained by God. Necessity or force theory. The state must have been created by force by some great warriors because there is a need for its establishment. Number 3, paternalistic theory. The enlargement of the family, which remained under the authority of the father, to become a clan, a tribe, a nation, and a state. Number 4, social contract theory. State must have been formed by a deliberate and voluntary contract among the people to form a society and organize a government for their common good. This theory justifies the right of the people to revolt against a bad ruler. Distinction between a state and a nation. A state is a legal or political concept. A nation is a racial or ethnic concept referring to a group of people with common culture, language, and history. Distinction between state and government. The government is only an element of the state. A state cannot exist without a government, but a government can exist without a state. Number 2, the state is an abstraction while government takes a concrete form. Number 3, the state is an association of people in a political community, while a government is the agency that carries out the goals of the state. Number 4, a state is more permanent than a government. Number 5, the powers of the state is inherent to it, while governmental powers are defined, delegated, and limited either by tradition or by the Constitution. Inherent powers of the state. Police power. Power of promoting public welfare by restraining and regulating the use of liberty and property. The power is based on public necessity and the right of the state of self-protection and self-preservation. Power of eminent domain. Power of the state to forcibly take private property for public use upon payment or just compensation. Power of taxation. Power by which the state raises revenue to defray necessary expenses of the government. Function of government. Constituent functions, necessary or compulsory functions because they constitute the very bonds of society. Keeping of order and protection of person and property, violence and robbery. Fixing of illegal relations between and among members of a family. Regulations of the holding, transmission, and interchange of property and the determination of its liabilities for debt or for a crime. Determination of contractual rights between individuals. Definition and punishment of crimes. Administration of justice in civil cases. The determination of political duties, privileges, and relation of citizens. And last, dealing with other state and the preservation of the two state. So, ministrant function. Those undertaken for the purpose of advancing the general interests and are optional, like public works, public education, charity, health and safety, regulation of trade and commerce, etc. Forms of government. The principal form are monarchy. The supreme and final authority is in the hands of a single person regardless of his source of elections or the nature or duration of his tenure. Absolute monarchy. The ruler rules by divine right. Limited monarchy. The ruler rules in accordance with constitution. Aristocracy. Political power is exercised by a few privileged class, also known as oligarchy. Democracy. A political power of exercised by a majority of the people. Direct or pure democracy or direct participation of people. Indirect. Representative of Republican democracy, election by the people of representatives to carry their will. The Philippines is a democratic and republican state. Other forms of government. As to the extent of powers exercised by the national government, unitary the control. First is the unitary, the control of national and local affairs is exercised by the national government. Number 2 is federal. The power of the government is divided between two sets of organ, one for the local and the others for the national affairs, each being supreme within its own sphere. As a relation between the executive and legislative, number 1, parliamentary. Presidential. The Philippines has unitary, save for the provision of the local government code and presidential forms of government. The structure of field government. The 1987 Constitution provides for the presidential system of government, thus the government is made of 3 branches departments, the executive, legislative, and judiciary, whose functions are independent of each other, government by the principle of separation of powers and non-delegation of powers. The system made it possible for each branch to serve as a check and balance mechanism on each. Legislative power is vested in Congress, the House of Senate, and the House of Representatives, except to the extent reserved to the people by provision in initiative and referendum. The function of the legislative branch department is to propose, amend, and repeal laws. Executive power, the power to enforce and administer laws, vested in the President. Judicial power. The duty of the Court of Justice to settle actual controversies involving rights which are legally demandable and enforceable, and to determine whether or not there has been a grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack of excess of jurisdiction of any part of instrumentality of the government, vested in the Supreme Court and all the other lower courts. Philippine governments throughout history. Pre-Spanish period. Existence of barangganic societies. The barangay is an independent political unit which has its own laws providing for its structure of government. The most prevalent form of government, though, is monarchy, with the datu as the monarch. The Constitution is the fundamental law of a state. It serves as the framework of all other laws. The Malolos Constitution, a revolutionary constitution in 1898, right before the Phil territory was ceded by Spain to the U.S. The 1935 Constitution, the Constitution during the Commonwealth period, or in May 14, 1935. The 1973 Constitution, the Constitution during the Marcos administration following the declaration of the martial law providing for a presidential and parliamentary forms of government on January 17, 1973. The Freedom Constitution. The Constitution, in force right after Corazon C. Aquino became president through people power in March 25, 1986. The 1987 Constitution is February 2, 1987. Parts of Constitution. Constitution of Government. Provision on the governmental structure. Number 2, Constitution of Liberty. Provision which guarantee individuals their fundamental liberties and protection against governmental abuse. Constitution. Number 3, Constitution of Sovereignty. Provision which outline the process whereby the people may change the Constitution. The 1987 Constitution, the Preamble, an introductory part of the Constitution, not an essential part, but it set down the origin, scope, and purpose of the Constitution, and aids in ascertaining the meaning of ambiguous provision. Article number 1. The National Territory. Only the 1935 to 1973 and 1987 provision for this. Article number 2. Declaration of Principle and State Policies. Function to shed light on the meaning of the other provision of the Constitution and to guide all the departments in the implementation of the Constitution. The salient features of 1987 Constitution. Number 1 is republicanism. Number 2, supremacy of civilian authority. Number 3, defense of the state. Number 4, separation of church and state. Number 5, independent foreign policy. Number 6, freedom from nuclear weapons. Number 7, social justice. Number 8, autonomy of local governments. Number 9, encouragement of formation of non-government organizations, sectoral organization or people's organization. Number 10, recognizing the role of women and ensuring gender equality. Number 11, priority to education.
The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. All laws must follow it. The 1987 Constitution was created to protect democracy, limit abuse of power, protect the rights of the people. So if a law goes against the Constitution, that law is invalid. So as future teacher, this is important because everything we do in school must respect constitutional principle. Next is human rights.
Article number 3, the Bill of Rights. A declaration and enumeration of the individual rights and privileges which the Constitution is designed to protect against violations by the government or by individual or groups. Number 1, right to life, liberty and property. Number 2, due process of law. Number 3, equal protection of the law. Number 4, right against illegal search or seizure and arrest. Number 5, right to privacy. Number 6, freedom of expression. Number 7, right to own and dispose property. Number 9, the right against detention by reason of political beliefs and aspirations. Number 10, rights of accused in a criminal case. So, letter A is educate legal assistant. B, right to remain silent. The right against torture, violence, threat, intimidation, or any other means which vitiates the free will. The right against being held in secret incommunicado or solitary detention. The right to bail and against excessive bail. The right to due process of law. The right to presumption of innocence. The right to be heard by himself and counsel. The right to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation against him. The right to have speedy, impartial, and public trial, or justice delayed is justice denied. the right to meet the witnesses face to face, the right to have compulsory process to secure the attendance of witness and production of evidence of his behalf, sub subpoena de duces tecum, documents subpoena, and testificandum testimony, the right against self-incrimination, the right against excessive fines, the right against cruel, degrading, and inhuman punishment, the right against infliction of the death penalty except for heinous crime. Note, the death penalty has been suspended. The right against double jeopardy, charged twice for the same offense. Writ the habeas corpus, an order issued by the court directed to the person detaining another to produce the body of the prisoner at a designated time and place, showing sufficient cause for detention. Article 4. Citizenship. Methods of acquiring citizenship. Number 1 is jus sanguinis. The basis is blood relation. Number 2, jus soli or jus loci. Basis is place of birth. Number 3, by marriage. Number 4, by naturalization. Dual citizenship is allowed but dual allegiance is prohibited. Article 5. Suffrage. The right and obligation to vote. Scope, election, plebiscite, referendum, initiative, recall. Article 6. Legislative Department. The authority to make, repeal, alter laws. House of Senate and House of Representatives. Article 7. Executive Department. Vested in the President the power to administer the laws. Article 8. Judicial Department. Vested in the Supreme Court and lower courts the power to interpret the law in actual controversies between state and private person or between individuals and to determine grave abuse of discretion on any part of the government. Judges and justices and screened and nominated by the Judicial and Bar Council. Article 9. Constitutional Commission, Civil Service Commission, Commission of Election, Commission on Audit. Their creation established in the Constitution because of the extraordinary importance of their function that needs to insulate them from undesired. Article 10. Local government. Implementing law is RA 7160 or the Local Government Code. Article 11. Accountability of public officers. All government officials and employees shall be at all times answerable for their misconduct to the people from whom the government derives in its powers. Article 12. National economy and patrimony. The national economy refers to the entire structure of economic life in a country encompassing all the activities relating to production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. National patrimony refers to the natural resources of our country. All land of the public domain, waters, minerals, coals, petroleum, etc., which must be protected, conserved, and developed for the succeeding generation. Article 13. Social justice and human rights. The adoption by the state of measures that guarantee the right of all people to equality of opportunity in all fields of human endeavor and to equitable sharing of social economic benefits with special emphasis on such measures and ameliorate. Article 14. Education, science and technology, arts and culture and sport. The state shall protect and promote the right of all citizens to quality education at all levels and shall take appropriate steps to make such education accessible to all. Establish, maintain, and support of complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of people and society. Establish and maintain a system of scholarship grants, students loan programs, subsidies, and other incentives which shall be available to deserving students in both private and public schools, especially to the unprivileged. Encourage non-formal, informal, and indigenous learning system, as well as self-learning, independent, and out-of-school study programs, particularly those that respond to community needs. Provide adult citizens, the disabled, and out-of-school youth with training and civics, vocational efficiency, and other skills. All educational institutions shall include the study of the Constitution as part of the curricula. They shall inculcate patriotism and nationalism, foster love of humanity, respect for human rights, and appreciation of the role of national heroes in the historical development of the country, strengthen ethical and spiritual values, develop moral character and personal discipline, encourage critical and creative thinking, broaden scientific and technological knowledge, and promote vocational efficiency. All educational institutions shall be owned by the Filipinos or corporation or associations of which at least 60% is owned by the such citizens. Control and administration of educational institutions shall be vested in the citizens of the Philippines. No school shall be established solely for aliens, and no group of aliens shall comprise more than 1/3 of the enrollment in any school. All assets of non-stock, non-profit educational institution used actually, directly, and exclusively for educational purpose shall be exempt from taxes and duties. Every citizen has the right to select a profession or a course of a study subject. The state shall enhance the right of teachers to professional advancement. Article 15. The family. The state recognizes the Filipino family as the foundation of the nation. It shall strengthen its solidarity and actively promote its total development. Article 16. General provisions. Article 17. Amendments of revision. Article 18. Transitory provisions.
Are basic rights that every person has simply because they are human. So this includes right to life, right to liberty, right to freedom or expression, right to education. So the Constitution ensures that these rights are protected. So for example, if a student punished unfairly without explanations, that violates due process, which is protected by Constitution. So the government and even schools must respect human rights. Now let's apply what we learned. Now, which element of the state refers to the supreme power to enforce its will and freedom from external control? Very good. The correct answer is sovereignty. So, example, if a teacher allows students to express opinion respectfully, the teacher is practicing freedom of expression, a human right protected by the Constitution. So, example of territory, when the Philippines asserts that waters between its islands belong to the country, it is applying the constitutional concept of territory.
So here's a question. Which elements of the state refers to the supreme power to enforce its will and freedom from external control? A. Government. B. Sovereignty. C. Territory. D. People. Okay, letter B. Sovereignty. Number 2. A group of people permanently occupying a definite territory with an organized government is best described as A. Nation. B. Community. C. State. D. Organization. Okay, letter C. State. Number 3. Which elements of the state serve as the agency through which the will of the state is formulated and implemented? A. Territory. B. Government. C. Sovereignty. D. Population. Okay, letter B. Government. Number 4. According to 1987 Philippine Constitution, which of the following is included Philippine territory? A. Only land areas of the Philippines. B. Islands without surrounding waters. C. Archipelago with islands and waters embraced therein. Letter D. Neighboring countries and Southeast Asia. Okay, letter C. Archipelago with island and waters embraced therein. Last number 5. Who are referred to as the people in the context of the Philippine state? A. Government official only. B. Citizens living abroad. C. Foreign residents. D. Filipinos. Okay, letter D. Filipinos.
Now let's remember, a state has four elements: people, territory, government, and sovereignty. The Philippines follows the 1987 Constitution. Philippine territory includes land, water, and airspace. Sovereignty means independence, and human rights are protected by the Constitution. That's the end of our discussion on Philippine government, the 1987 Constitution, and human rights. So thank you for watching.